Hi, it's Steve from PartSelect. Today we're going to show you how to change the ice bucket on your refrigerator, and it's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver. Let me show you how we do it. Now, to do this repair, we'll begin by opening the freezer door, and then we're going to remove the whole ice bucket and auger assembly, and then we'll set it on a suitable work surface where we can do the repair. Now, while we're doing the repair, we'll also turn the ice maker off, so just reach in, lift up on the shut-off lever, and put it in the off position. Now, to do this repair, we simply need to remove the front cover from the old assembly. Now, there are two screws on the inside at the top of the metal bracket, and then there are two screws on the bottom of that same bracket. So we'll just remove those. Set it up right, remove the last two screws, and just lift the cover assembly off and set that aside so we can install it on the new piece. We'll discard the old bucket and auger assembly. And then we'll set that cover assembly aside. Now next, we're going to remove the complete auger and crusher blade assembly from the bucket. We're going to turn it upside down. We're going to remove these two screws that secure that metal bracket to the front of the ice bucket. It also encompasses the crusher housing. And we'll also need to remove this single screw that holds the bracket for the crusher lever. These are a short Phillips screw. And the screw securing that bracket is the same length as the ones that hold the front cover on. And I'll turn it upright again. And this metal bracket has a lip that fits down over the front top edge of that ice bucket. So as we push forward on the auger, we'll lift up and release that bracket. You'll also note the two slotted tabs that will also mate up with that metal bracket. Take that whole assembly out. You'll note the rubber gasket that fits around the bottom edge of that ice bucket. And when reinstalling, we'll need to make sure that that is seated properly in there, and it's easier done in the final stages of the reassembly. And as well, we have a bearing on the end of that auger that we can just pop off. And again, this is easier to install in the ice bucket first when we're reassembling, and it will set in place like that. Now next, we'll take the new bucket assembly. We'll transfer the gasket that came off of the old one to the large opening on the front. That will fit down over that channel. And then we'll slide the whole assembly into position. We'll need to line up that auger with the bearing at the back. Now, when we go to install the auger assembly in the new ice bin, we need to take care of a couple of issues. One will be the rear bearing for that auger, and it's probably easier to remove it from the auger, and we'll insert it in the bucket. And make sure that we transfer the U-shaped gasket from the old ice bucket to the new one, and we'll put that in after we get it partially reassembled. So we'll take the new bucket, and then we're going to install that bearing in the hole at the back, keeping in mind that there is one slotted opening on it that fits over the end of that auger. So we'll want to put it in so that that portion of it faces out. And we're going to take that whole assembly. What we want to do is make sure that this edge that has the hook on the top of it sits across the open end of the ice bucket, and the lever will go underneath the bucket. So just carefully slide it into position. Once we get it close, you can rotate that bearing on the bottom so it lines up with the auger. And slide it over the top of the bin. Make sure it hooks. And carefully lay it face down. Then we'll install that gasket. Just slide it into position. Make sure it sits over the lip on that bucket. You'll need to make sure that you hold that in place while we line the assembly up. Now again, we'll make sure that that assembly fits flush across the front of the bucket, and also the edges of that metal bracket will fit into two little vertical slots on the bucket. And then we'll install those two screws. Now just rotate it upright and make sure that it did line up properly. Now we'll reinstall the spring assembly for that lever. And that will lower on top of this little projection on the bottom of the ice bin. Held in place with one single screw. And then we'll need to rotate that spring so that it catches the arm and puts tension on it. And then just check that operation, make sure that it operates the crusher door. And now we can proceed to put the front panel back on. Now we'll line that up, slide it into position. We'll replace the two screws on the inside first. Be careful not to over tighten these screws. And then we'll flip it upside down. And replace the two screws in the bottom. And just check the operation of that auger, make sure that it turns easily from the back. open the crusher door, and we're ready to put the assembly back in the refrigerator. I told you it was an easy job. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your repair.